Morning Trainiacs, welcome to the channel. In the words of one of my new favorite YouTube channels, Seth's Bike Hacks and Burn Peak Express, today we're going to do something a little different but also kind of the same. We are going to be talking about triathlon, specifically for the beginner triathletes. And what we're going to do today is these are the Aqua Sphere Alpha Fins. I was told about these back in Hawaii at the Ironman World Championship by a very decorated, like one of America's all-time best age group masters swimmers. And her contention is that these are the very best swim fins that you can possibly get for training. Now, historically, I have used these TYR Crossblade fins. And the reason for that is because you want a set of fins that are somewhat pliable, that have a stiff side, that are slightly longer by about 4 to 6 inches than your toes, but not these short ones. Really short fins, those zoomer fins that like just go past the edge of your toes, those are really good if you are Michael Phelps or if you're a really elite swimmer and you want to strengthen your kick. But for us age group triathletes, our kick really only amounts to somewhere in between about 0 and 4% of our total propulsion. So making our kick that much stronger really isn't going to help us. If we double the effectiveness of our kick, we might only improve our propulsion by a grand total of like 2%. But what we can do with our kick is A, balance ourselves out by using fins to learn how to do kick properly in drills, and we can basically use fins for recovery. With this slightly longer fin, what we do is we end up actually making our kick a fair bit more fluid. It ends up kind of loosening up those muscles. On teamtrainiac.com, we use fins at the beginning of every single workout, basically just to prepare the muscles for the remainder of the workout. But here's the thing that I don't like about these fins is that they tend to encourage my legs to splay side to side, because if you want your toes together almost touching in your kick, these fins, they hit. So it encourages your legs to splay out to the side, creating a little bit more drag. In addition to that, what I find is that because these are rubber, they're not buoyant, they end up basically driving my legs down, and it's creating that sensation of sinking in the water, which creates a little bit of panic for newer swimmers. It's a bad technique for more experienced swimmers. So these alpha fins, I've actually been trying them for a little while, but let me show you why they might alleviate some of those issues, and then we'll take them into the pool and I'll show you what they end up actually doing. On first glance, when you first open these up, you're going to notice that this is a lot heavier than this. Rubber foam. What you're also going to notice is that these are like Aquaman fins. These look really funny if you're walking around on deck with them. If you're putting them on and other people are putting on these, you might get some funny looks. But with these being foam, you're obviously going to float a little bit better. Also, as you can see, these are tapered basically right in line with the edge of your foot. So you're going to be able to get your feet quite a bit more tight towards each other, getting that nice kick where your toes are pointed slightly in at each other, just kissing back and forth. There are some speed holes, I guess, here. I don't know what those are for. It's molded, like the entire thing is molded to your feet. You got these lines here. They look like Aquaman fins. So let's now take them into the pool. I'll do a little bit of swimming. I'll give you the play-by-play of how they actually go in comparison to these. And this is actually, yeah, let's just do that. Okay, so I ended up finding some of the stubby fins. So zoomer, stubby fins for basically elite swimmers. I'll give these a try. These TYR Crossblades, or whatever fins look like this, historically what I've used. These Aquaman fins, that's what we're gonna try. And like, good point about this right now is if you're trying, say, a new technique, a new shoe, a new whatever it is, it's a good idea to go back and forth immediately from one to the next.
It's been a long time since I've used these little stubby fins. Kind of forgot what they were like. Those, you gotta work a lot harder with those. Like they're much more like a kicky kind of kick instead of a fluid kick, which isn't necessarily what we want because we want to conserve energy. Alright, nice. Compared to the stubby fins, these fins do so much more of the work for you, and it gets a much more fluid kick. Calm, controlled. Actually, now that I've gone back and forth between these and the stubby ones are not all bad because it's hard to get a real quick kick. Like if you're working on fast swimming, you'd want If you're working on fast swimming, the stubby fins might work better. Let's go to these. Now, I'll tell you this about these fins, they are much tighter to get on. The very first thing I noticed is that my feet, because they're foam, obviously, come right up to the surface, which is a much better feeling than what you normally have. You don't want sinky feet. That creates drag if you're like this. You want to be level with the surface of the water, and this gets those feet up. And then, like I was saying, feet are able to get nice and narrow. So what you want when you're kicking is you want to have your toes basically just pointed in slightly towards each other. And as you're practicing your kicking, you want your toes basically just kissing each other. And if you've got that nice inward flex, you're gonna actually catch the surface of the water. If your toes are pointed out, you're going to be slicing through them. So you want to have sort of a nice inward turn. And if you've got that inward turn with these, you're obviously going to be hitting the inside of the edge. Fins. We have so many fins. I'll cut to the chase here. These here, Aqua Sphere Alpha Fins, yeah, they're my favorite fins. I've got one pair here. I've got a second pair here. Now, what are the things that we need to figure out when we are training as age group triathletes to be prepared for a race? We have to figure out how to get our feet up close to the surface of the water. We don't want to drag in the water, pushing ourselves forward, making things tougher on ourselves by being inefficient. And if you're totally new, having those legs sinking, that's what creates the panic response. Now, do you end up getting that panic response and really dragging with these fins? No, you don't. These are going to help you get up closer to the surface of the water, but because they are so heavy, they are going to sink a little bit. Because you can't get your toes close to each other, your legs are going to separate a little bit. That's going to create a little bit of kind of inefficient kicking. You're going to splay your legs a fair bit, and it's going to therefore end up creating more drag, bringing your legs down. Now, are these the be-all, end-all? They're better, A, because you can get your feet closer. It does still have that nice fluid motion so that you do get the fluid kick instead of a real snappy kick. But the one thing that I don't necessarily like about these is that it could become a crutch. If you're using these strictly for the purpose of making it easier to get your feet up close to the surface of the water and then not thinking actively about how to get those feet up close to the surface of the water and simulate that feeling or do that exact feeling when you take the fins off, because these are buoyant, it could become that crutch, just like a pull buoy could become a crutch. Use these fins to feel what good swimming feels like. Have that buoyancy with the EVA foam, getting those feet up close to the surface of the water. But then when you take them off and you do your normal swimming, make sure that you are actively trying to get your legs up. Now, next thing is these cost 37 bucks. These cost 25 bucks. $12 more. For that, that's kind of one of the nice things about swim gear is that you can get much better swim gear. And instead of bike gear where to get a really nice bike, it costs you $15,000 instead of $5,000. Swim gear costs you just marginally more. So I would always recommend with swim drill, pull buoys, tools like that, upgrading to the nicest equipment that you can, because it's going to make a really big difference in your actual swimming. For a grand total of, like, if you maxed out the amount of toys that you bought in a swim bag, maybe it's 150 bucks instead of 100 bucks. We're triathletes. That's a drop in the bucket. So, final answer. Only use these if you're a competitive swimmer. Only use these if that's what you've got. If you have to get together your new swim bag, by all means, get these. I'm not sponsored by them. I paid my own money to get these. I think that they are a much better tool than these. Simple as that. Still, you get the nice fluid kicking, you get to be able to put your toes together, you get that sensation of what it's like to float up to the surface of the water. All good things. I highly recommend them. That's the video for today. If you want to watch any more of our beginner swimming videos, check out the ones here and here. And if you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. Later, Trainiacs.